The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to Getting to Know You. My name is Joe Nash. Today we're going to be talking about the Adirondack Folk School up in Lake Luzerne. This June will be its 5th anniversary since it started, and we have with us the president, Rand Condell, and the executive director, Jeff Lydon. So welcome. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
I should say that Rand is also a blacksmith, but we'll get into that. Why don't you talk about, I just mentioned this is the 5th year. People can learn everything up there, from soap making to making their own canoes to making their own tools to tinsmithing, blacksmithing, jewelry, woodworking, basketry. You'll be able to see some stuff. So classes go from half day. There's full day classes. There's even classes that last a week. So why don't we start with this 5th year anniversary, and how did this place all start? And it sounds like it's really kind of going gangbusters now.
It is. It started. As I said, we'll be starting our 6th season July 5th.
Okay.
And it grew out of the folk school concept from schools in Scandinavia. And the town of Luzerne was looking for, there was a committee to look for a way to stimulate the economy of the area. And they tried a few things that didn't work out. And then we came across the concept of a folk school, and it has just blossomed.
Are these places all over in Scandinavia?
There are a few places throughout the country. They are all over Scandinavia.
That's what I meant, Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Okay.
But ours is the only school that specializes in the Adirondack culture.
Okay.
And that culture has really spread around the country. I mean, you can go to North Carolina or Colorado or California, and you'll see Adirondack style building, furniture, the style.
Well, it is what could you say? There's an Adirondack sensibility. Is there
Yeah.
one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
An Adirondack state of mind.
Adirondack state of mind. And I know that I don't know if it's a mandate or not, but on your flyer here, there's many at the library. You can get, it's your catalog. The website will be on the screen, adirondackfolkschool.org. One of the goals of your place, if that's the right word, you're trying to sort of preserve the cultural heritage of the region. Is that
That's right.
sort of the idea behind all this?
The crafts, the art, and the cultural heritage of the Adirondacks. So that's our specialty.
I think it's even fair to say some of what we teach and pass on at the folk school could actually go extinct without the kind of work we're doing.
You're like among the last people to be doing this.
In some
There probably aren't too
cases.
many blacksmiths.
Right. But yet, it's the folk school is part of larger movements of people that are really interested in getting back to basics.
Yes.
And that speaks a lot to the values that kind of undergird what we do. And I mean, the things we make at the folk school will last for generations. They become heirloom gifts. This is a nice answer to our throwaway culture, and people are really getting into this. It's really catching fire.
And I think you were saying there's places like this all over the country now, or
There are a few. They do things a little differently. There was one school that was started 100 years ago, but we have one of the largest programs in the country now.
And it seems like it goes along with when I think of farmers markets are becoming huge now all over, food co-ops. You guys people are starting to, I think they're getting tired of all their devices. I don't know.
I think that's exactly it. When they come to the school, they're using very simple tools for the most part.
And you make some of the tools, you're telling me.
And we make a lot of the tools ourselves. And when they finish, I mean, the thing that impresses me is how happy people are. When they finish a project, they're so proud of it. And many of these projects are going to be in their families for generations.
Okay, so why don't we, you have so many categories of classes. like I mentioned earlier, fiber arts, blacksmithing, furniture. So why don't you, I don't know who wants to take this one, but can you give us an overview of the kind of classes and sort of what they entail and how people, go about? Well, you have over 200 classes.
We have over 200
can't
classes,
talk about all
so
200.
we can't talk all of them. Well, one thing that characterizes the Adirondacks is woodworking.
Okay.
There was an Adirondack style when Durant developed the great camps. And so we do a lot of that type of work. So
Okay, there you go.
there we go with a bark frame and twig work.
Okay.
And we make coffee tables, we do end tables, we do beds, we do picture frames.
Now, this is probably the dumb question of the day, but do you make Adirondack chairs? I was like,
We do.
We do.
But we also do an Adirondack chair that most people have never seen. The original chair from the Sagamore Hotel.
with the slant back.
No,
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 that's
no,
not
no.
good.
It's
All
a
right.
bentwood chair, and all of them were out of existence except one box of parts, and we've recreated that chair.
Okay.
And it's a bentwood chair. It is lovely. It is so comfortable. And it's so easy to get in and out of. And we're the only place in the country where you're going to find one of these chairs.
Much more comfortable than the classic rendition, which actually isn't the classic rendition.
Okay,
So.
all right. So we're learning some history here. So, Jeff, since you're executive director, what are some of the more popular classes?
Well, you mentioned that we make boats, and in particular the wee lassie, which was the way people got around on the water around the turn of the century. And this boat was originally designed in the Adirondacks, and we couldn't fit a wee lassie, as small as it is, into the studio. It only weighs 20 pounds. It's made out of red cedar. They are just beautiful, beautiful
Are they
pieces of work.
Are they like a canoe? Or
It's a canoe.
This is
Oh,
a
it's a
canoe.
okay.
We could bring one paddle,
Okay.
which was also made at the school, and
And one of your classes is making your own.
It's a 10-day class, and everybody makes their own canoe.
and they leave with their own.
And they leave with their own canoe.
Not on the water necessarily, but we are
this
located
canoe-
right on the banks of the Hudson.
This canoe is designed for George Washington Sears, and it's a classic. There's a copy of it. The original is in the Adirondack Museum. There's a copy in the Smithsonian. And we have redesigned it the way you make it, but it's...
But now something like that, would that 10-day class, would that be like an all day for 10 days?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So people would take
You'd be working for all day.
what do you, they don't start from chopping your own tree down, do they?
No, but they start by picking their own
No? Okay.
sticks. And so the sticks are 12 foot long. They're 1 inch wide. And then they start forming around the forms, which we have made.
And so when people do this, what are they like? They take their vacation to come and make a canoe? Or?
Very often.
Okay, that sounds like it'd be a good vacation.
So I've made 2. I've got 4 grandchildren. I have 2 more to make because each one will get their own canoe when they are old enough.
So what else, Jeff? Canoe making obviously would be popular. I know you can make your own. We were talking about this before we started. In 5 days, you can actually make your own cabin. Talk about that. People might like that.
Well, timber framing is obviously goes way back, and because of the role that timber played in the development of the Adirondacks, you can imagine how important it's been to our cultural heritage. And people actually make their own cabins right on site, on skids that they can cart away with them.
Really?
And that applies to every kind of craft that people do at the Adirondack Folk School. It's one of the great values, along with the joy and the pleasure and the skills learned that can be applied again and again, and the friends made at the folk school. People are coming away with something they've made themselves for maybe the same money they'd buy it, spend to buy it in a gift shop, and they can make it again. So it's wonderful for our students. They have a great experience over and over.
So how many people last year, as an example, took classes?
We had about 600.
650.
And we have another several hundred, usually over 1,000 people a year that are participating in special classes, special programs that we put on, especially in summer.
I notice your classes go mostly almost all year round. I see from February to December. That's almost all year round.
Yeah.
So are people that come here, we were talking before we started, I was thinking, were they all just from New York State or Capital District? But you're saying you've had people from literally everywhere.
We get folks from all over the country. We've had folks from Germany and Moscow and the Soviet in Russia and from Venezuela, and they virtually come from every part of our country.
Well, I guess the thing to talk about, you have all these great classes, you have a lot of world-renowned teachers. Could you talk about the teachers? Apparently you have, you're a blacksmith, you're one of the blacksmith teachers, but tell me about the teachers. It sounds like you have the best, and some of them are the only ones that can do certain things, is that right?
One thing we try and do is get the very best instructors that we can, and we get them from all over the country.
Okay.
And as president, I not only want somebody that's highly skilled, I want somebody that's a great teacher. So I'm looking for both characteristics when we hire somebody. And right now we have about 60 instructors. So it's not one person fits every craft.
Okay.
Each craft gets a specialist in that craft. So we have Carl Heilemann is a photography instructor. That's one thing we didn't mention.
Oh,
here.
sorry, you have a lot of photography, painting, a lot of arts things also.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
A lot of fabric classes. We have basket makers come from all over that do specialized baskets. And I think we ought to offer about 25 basketry classes this year. We do quilting, and we do weaving. We do a lot of rugs made out of sock rugs.
We have a sample here.
A sample of a rug here.
Oh, okay.
And here's a mini quilt as well.
I like that rug. That's
We had a rug class this weekend that made rugs out of sock pieces, loops from socks.
Oh, okay.
And the expression on the folks' faces when they finished these rugs, they were about 6 feet long. They draped themselves in it. They were just so proud. They were so pretty. It was just great.
Do you? Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to add to that a lot of the students that come to the school have never considered themselves creative. They've never made anything in their lives with their hands. Everything here is hands-on. Other people who come have been artists all their lives. They're professionals. They want to expand their repertoire. So we've got this huge range of skill levels coming, and they all end up with such a rich experience. And that's great because it allows people who've wanted to explore the arts to finally give it a shot, because there's no failure at this school.
And you have, do you find, are just as many people interested in the arts, like jewelry making or photography, as in making, tools, and is it split pretty evenly, or?
Seems like nearly all the classes are getting good crowds.
Yeah.
We're growing for sure.
And you have, I noticed in your newspaper here, you have a lot of classes for kids.
We do, and we're expanding that.
Okay.
And doing a project with a child and an adult is great.
I mean, they take the class together.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, this knife here.
Oh, okay.
It's they forged the knife. They make the handle. And last summer, the last class was a father and son. And I'd say the boy was probably about 10 or 11 years old. He was a young Boy Scout. And they forged knives, and that's what they came out with.
I mean, like with the iron, like liquid?
They start out, they start out with a piece of iron.
Oh, okay.
And they put it in the fire, and they hammer it to the right
Okay.
shape, and then they had to file it, then they had to heat treat it, then they had to make the boss, and then the handle.
Okay.
So doing a project like that, father and son, or mother and daughter, or mother and son.
Couples as well have a great time here.
Okay.
We've had honeymooners interrupt their honeymoon at the school. Just make it part of the fun.
So when people come and take these classes, if one is 4 or 5 days, I mean, how does it work I mean, if you live within driving distance, Lake Luzerne from here is what, like 50 miles from Albany?
It's an hour.
An hour. But say you're not, how does that work if you're taking a 5-day class and you're from, I don't know?
There's lots of places to stay in the Luzerne area.
Okay.
And there's camping. So we have some folks that camp, some folks that stay in motels or bed and breakfast, depending upon.
Okay. But you at this point, you guys have nothing to do with where people.
We don't make arrangements for
Okay.
them.
But they can take the class. Oh, okay. Now I notice you have a lot of events over and above all these classes that like every Wednesday, once a month during the summer. What's this called? Open Forge Night. Well, now are you involved in that as a blacksmith?
I am. So Open Forge Night is a night when it's a free night. Folks can come, and we'll do forging demonstrations. Depending upon how many folks are there, some folks may be able to actually get at a forge and try their hand at forging something. We used to let everybody be around forges, but at one night we had 35 people in and around it, and the building won't accommodate
Oh,
that.
okay.
But yeah, so we have an open forge night, we have an open spinning night. We have
Spinning, you mean like the weave or? Oh, okay.
Wood turning.
wood turning,
Wood turning.
and we have an open spinning night with spinning wheels. So
Beautiful work.
and wood turning is is a class that attracts a lot of folks.
And I see you're
It's very
having
popular.
some of your other special events. You're having a bowl festival. What's the Bountiful Bowl Festival?
The Bountiful Bowl Folk Festival on August 1st, which is an all-day wonderful family event, is something Rand, why don't you tell? You've lived.
We've been doing it for a number of years. We have handmade bowls, soup bowls, and people buy a soup bowl.
Wood, made from wood?
No,
Oh.
it's pottery.
Okay.
And we'll have a dozen different soups and salads and rolls and entertainment and crafts. And when the money that we raise from that, a portion of it we give to the soup pantry.
Okay.
And so it's a lot of fun.
People purchase the bowls, and then just
Once you
keep
buy a bowl,
Okay, it's yours.
you can go back and forth and try each of the 12
open
soups.
buffet.
Now, can people just come up for the day and just sort of walk the grounds and just see things, or do you got to take a class?
No. If someone would like to come, we
Okay.
give them a tour, and we're right on the Hudson. It's a beautiful spot.
There's a walking path.
We have a path that goes right along the Hudson in a stream. And we're right at Rockwell Falls. So that's the first falls on the Hudson. And the first place where logs wound up getting stuck.
Okay. Now, with all these artists and making things, I hear that you guys have quite the gift shop. Is that true?
We do have a gift shop.
But I mean, it's all stuff made up there, isn't it?
It's
or by your
things made by
your teachers?
by our
Oh, okay.
instructors.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So, and I should say, we didn't cover this, you also have some music class, is that right?
We do.
Beginning banjo,
Mandolin.
Oh, okay.
and instrument making as well, at least drum making.
Making your own, okay.
Well, we have drum making, we've had flute making, we've
Right.
had banjo making.
Okay.
So, and every year it's a slightly different
Yeah.
schedule.
Okay, so,
And one of the things that we'll do is if a family would like to come up and have a particular course, we would set up a course just for a group.
I mean, if they ask for
If
us,
there were 4 or 5 people that wanted a particular class,
okay.
we'd arrange for
Sort
it.
of a private lesson.
Yeah.
We tailor the same kinds of things for businesses and looking for corporate retreat sites.
oh, okay, they can come up and, all right.
Well, if you want to build your team, build something together. It's a wonderful, wonderful exercise.
And we're pretty flexible. It's not like you have to build this frame.
Yeah.
This frame. We had a couple come in one day and they said, gee, could we build a larger frame? I said, yeah, I'm sure we can arrange that. Well, how about something this big? I'm sure we can arrange that. Well, they came back a couple weeks later. They wanted a frame for a mirror, and it was about 4.5 feet long and 3.5 feet
With
high.
the twigs.
And they did, and we arranged for that.
Now, you mentioned at the beginning about the sense of people are very happy to do this. What do you think's behind people doing this and wanting to do this? Some of the comments you've said when people leave, what are some of the things they say? What do you think's behind all the...
Part of it, I think, has to do with the pride and engagement of the do-it-yourself scene. We've lost so much of that in our culture, and part of the school is about preserving our heritage. It's also about what makes us human and remembering there's more to life than the next big thing, the next device, as you put it earlier. So, but I think most of all, it has to do with just the plain pleasure of working with your hands and creating something that's beautiful and utilitarian and enduring. And that's actually become a rare thing in our culture. And so this harkens back to simpler days, and it's a wonderful thing to see in action.
Now, speaking of simpler days, I know you have, do you have a thing, during the summer, where you have a thing, people sit around the fire on Saturday nights?
We do. We have a big amphitheater with a big fire pit in the center. And so we have
and this
free programs on Saturday evening.
And in the summer, okay.
So
starting July 11th at 7 p.m. every Saturday.
Saturday night, okay. And what goes on at these?
Well, one of them is birds of prey. There'll be maybe a dozen birds of prey there that folks can see and in some cases hold. And Rachel Ford will be there explaining this. And then we'll have Joe Bruchak will be telling stories.
The storyteller.
He's a storyteller and singer, and
we're going to have somebody come and present on the rich history this region has around abolitionism and the Underground Railroad.
And logging, the logging of the Adirondacks. We have somebody who used to be at Finch Prine that has a terrific photo history of the logging industry in the Adirondacks.
So each of these Saturday night get-togethers, there's usually a talk or a demonstration or something,
or square dancing,
or
music.
Now I have these
folk singers, and
they're free.
They're free. People can just drive up on a Saturday night. That sounds like
it's fairly intimate, but we have gotten 200 people quite a few times, so it can be quite an event too.
So how big is this fire? Is this a big?
It's a big fire pit. It's probably a 10-foot diameter.
So, any other special summer events that I've missed here? Is there anything else that...
There is one that we haven't gotten the word out about yet. So this will be the first announcement, and we'll be getting the word out a lot in the very near future. We're having our Hearts for the Arts Gala fundraiser to celebrate the arts of the Adirondacks and the work of the Folk School on June 19th at the Lake George Holiday Inn. And Silda Wall-Spitzer will be headlining with us because she's a big supporter of the arts, and in particular where the arts meets community building, which is a lot about what the Adirondack Folk School is about. And we're going to have entertainment from the Stony Creek Band, one of, I think, the Northeast premier acts, and we'll have an auction with many pieces fit for any gallery. It's going to be a great night. It's June 19th, Holiday Inn in Lake George. Stay tuned.
Is there information on the website yet, or
there will be any time now?
Well, by the time this is on, that's AdirondackFolkSchool.org. Okay, and is that sort of a fundraising thing?
It is.
Also awareness building and just a celebration of the arts. It's time to get together with our friends. And you've been kind enough to highlight our catalog a few times. It is everywhere. Tens of thousands of them are throughout the Northeast now, waiting for you to pick up. But also, everything in that catalog is online at AdirondackFolkSchool.org.
When I say these, this is the paper. We have many in our library. You can probably get them where? Libraries, bookstores.
Exactly.
Anywhere you maybe get Metroland or something. I don't know.
Registering online or by phone is just fine. Either way.
What are some of the? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit. What are some of the things people actually say when they're leaving? I mean, some of the most heartwarming kind of things, other than
wow,
they just made their own.
Wow, that's probably the single most often word I hear when folks are leaving the school.
From new artists, it's always, I never thought I could do this, something
Yeah.
like that, you know.
So
And have you had a lot of people return people?
almost anybody that comes to the school comes back. I mean, it's just they have fun.
Okay.
And this weekend we had, in addition to the rug class, we had a blacksmithing class, and it was a 3-day class, and folks were they were laughing the whole time. They all got together after class. The instructor said, "Well, can I start early, and can we stay late?" And everybody did. And
Yeah.
there was a young man there that could only make 2 days, but his mother came and watched for the 2 days, and she said, "Well, can I fill in on the third day?" She just had a ball.
Okay.
So it's not just for the burly guys; it's for everybody.
Well, I think we forget back in the old days, people had to make everything literally everything they use. Really, I mean, you know, do you have something you want to show?
Well, I was just going to say here, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but this is a bottle opener. So this is one of our classes, and in the class they make all of the tools to make this bottle opener.
So
It's all forged from a piece of steel that's only that long.
They
It's a
make the
half-inch
tools
square.
first.
They make all the tools first.
Okay.
They learn to heat treat them, and they cut the steel with one of the tools. They punch the eye sockets with one of the tools. They punch the eyes with one of the tools they make. They split this 1-inch hole, and that's what it is, a 1-inch circle that then gets. They make that out of a piece of 1/2-inch square. Now, how do they make a piece of 1/2-inch square into a 1-inch circle? They make a slot in the piece of iron, and then they run a drift through it. So and then they make it gold with a piece
Okay.
of brass.
I noticed, is that one of Art's? We had Art here one day.
It is one of ours.
The tinsmith. I should just show, I'll just show this basket. It sounds like the baskets are very popular. This is the kind of basket, this is pretty big, but
It's called the Adirondack Pack Basket.
it's the Adirondack pack basket. It's got, you wear it on your back, kind of. So this is
Very traditional.
this is a traditional Adirondack. Yeah, this is nice. It seems like it might be easier to get at than your knapsack. And then we have, okay, so people will see that on there.
You asked about summer programs, speaking of the Adirondack Pack Basket, and we are partnering with Great Camp Sagamore, probably the premier great camp in the Adirondacks, and hosting a series of classes up there so people can have a real immersion experience.
At the great camp?
At the great
Oh,
camp,
okay.
with our instructors under
Okay.
our umbrella, so it's a great partnership.
Is that in the?
It's not in the catalog. That's on. I'm sorry. It is advertised in the catalog, but it is these classes you can only sign up for by calling us because they're a
Okay.
bit specialized.
So you can make a canoe up there, you can make a pack basket, you can do a frame, or you can do a toboggan.
Okay. And where is that great camp? That's way up in the.
It's right near Racket Lake.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was the Vanderbilt's home for about 70 years.
Well, you said at the beginning the school started as somehow trying to help Lake Luzerne. Has it helped the local economy some up there, or have you heard?
It has.
Definitely.
Some of the businesses are only there because of us. Or predominantly because of
Okay.
us.
Well, have I forgotten anything? Is there anything else you want to bring up?
I think we've hit quite a few highlights.
And I would
think so.
just say, well, what is that? I've been
Gourd work.
looking
It's
down.
it's something we haven't discussed. We do gourds and both birdhouses.
Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is like a little birdhouse. Mm-hmm. All right, made from a gourd.
Yep.
Okay. Well, back then they had to use everything. If I
They did. We make our own brooms.
Make brooms. Okay, this is quite the. Well, there's tons of information. It's AdirondackFolkSchool.org. You got the catalogs. They're all over the Capital District. We have a couple hundred here in the library. You can come and get one. And it sounds like there's a lot to do up there.
A lot of fun to be
A
had.
lot of fun. It sounds like fun. Definitely. So Anything else?
I think that covers it for
That's
now.
it.
Well, Rand and Jeff, thanks for coming down,
you.
and well, maybe I'm going to try and come to one of these fires, I think, one of these Saturday nights. And then we'll see you next time on Getting to Know You.